showing up here.
Okay. With us here is a Nissan AD. Nissan AD is quite a reliable vehicle. People always have a low opinion about Nissans, but this one has served well. Unfortunately, the owner drove it on a rough road, but the ground clearance of the vehicle is a little bit low. So he hit the sump on a rock, and the sump is so close to the oil strainer at the bottom of the engine. So the vehicle was suffocated of oil. It didn't get enough oil, causing it to knock prematurely.
I set off with the vehicle to take my sister to Rodi Kupang so that she could pick a vehicle to her home in Sori. After I'd filled the vehicle, I started off. But before going far, I realized the vehicle had a problem. There was a funny sound coming out of it. Then I checked. I couldn't know what caused the sound. So I decided to call Jack to consult him. When I called him, after he had interviewed me, he he advised me to come back with the vehicle so that he could check it.
Oh, you want to see what caused the engine damage? Yes. This vehicle, this is the place where the sump is placed. The lower pan of the sump. So it hit a stone, and this is the oil pickup tube in the sump. It picks oil from the sump. So that impact crashed onto the pipe, closing it and making it smaller, suffocating the rest of the engine with oil. So that is what caused damage to the engine bearings. You can see the engine bearings here. These are pieces from the engine bearings. Pieces from the engine bearings. This happened because they were lacking sufficient oil. They were starved of oil. That is what caused the engine failure. You see the way the engine bearings are damaged. Yeah. So this engine was still good. It is almost as good as new. It can still be rebuilt. Even when you look at this bearing, you see the evidence of oil starvation. That is what caused the engine failure. Yeah. So we are putting a new engine in the vehicle today, but we are going to rebuild this other engine at our own time. We'll rebuild it back to be as good as new. Okay. Then we can use it on another vehicle.
So is there anything that got damaged severely?
Yeah, the engine bearings definitely are in pieces. The engine bearings are damaged. Even the crankshaft is damaged. I'm trying to locate where the crankshaft is, but I'm not seeing it. It is a very vital component. I haven't seen it yet. That crankshaft is it is damaged, but we can take it for engineering. It can be engineered and put back. Yeah, we will have it engineered. Zuri, don't sit on those things. They could be delicate. Yeah, don't sit there. Okay, so that is it.
Where is the engine?
The engine is there, that one. That one. That one. Hey, so he said it could no longer move. Even the engine was removed from the vehicle, and it was just kept in the garage. The vehicle was just left supported on stones in the compound. I just hope the new engine will work and the vehicle will be able to move, and I'll be able to use it as usual. That is my best hope.
But have you inspected the vehicle?
Not yet.
It is being repaired.
It is still being repaired, but I just hope it will be all right.
I want to get closer and see how it is working.
I'm seeing. Can see they're working on it seriously.
So are you eager to wait to test it?
I am, yes. Yeah, I am. I'd like to see if it really works. Fortunately, my license is still valid for some time. So I have no worry about license. I don't know whether any other thing might have got out of order during its stay immobile. But I hope everything will be all right.
You looked around it.
Yeah. I can see the rest of the body is okay, but one tire I can see is deflated. I don't know whether it has a puncture or just a slow puncture. I don't know. Otherwise, until it will have been tested, is when we can know whether everything is all right or not.
This vehicle runs on a Nissan HR15 engine. That is a 1.5 liter engine, petrol engine. So the owner opted to buy a new engine rather than rebuild the other one, because the cost of rebuilding an engine is almost the same with the cost of buying a new used engine. Actually, it is not brand new, but it has been used abroad. So they are cut from vehicles abroad and brought in the country when they are still usable. Yeah, so that's what we are doing here. But we normally rebuild engines very well at Ottoman Empire Garage in Oyugis. The cost of used engines from abroad are rising very fast, and more people these days are opting to rebuild their engines. And we normally do that very well at our Oyugis garage. But today we are working away from the garage. Today we are working in the village. The vehicle broke down while it was here in the village. So we opted to repair it here rather than to tow it all the way to Oyugis.
So can the vehicle be raised? Is there a possibility that the vehicle can be raised?
People do that, but it is not good practice. It is not very good practice because these vehicles have been engineered and calibrated to such heights they come with. If you want to buy a vehicle that can go off-road, you'd rather buy a vehicle that is built for that purpose. So it is not safe because once you raise it, you raise the center of gravity, that making it less stable. While at the same time, when you change the height of the vehicle to a level where it was not meant to be, some parts are strained because they are not assuming their natural angles. So the parts wear prematurely. For instance, the ball joints and even the suspension bushings. So I don't encourage changing vehicle heights. I think alternatively, somebody can opt to fix heavy-duty springs, which are not so comfortable compared to the OEM. OEM simply means original equipment manufacturer. The original parts are much better. They offer more comfortable ride than the heavy-duty springs. Okay. Yeah, so it is a give and take. You gain height and you lose comfort. Yeah.
So what are they doing here now?
So at the moment, now we're speaking on how to buy used engines. Yes. This engine comes from, it comes from Dubai. The merchants in Dubai get them from Japan, where they cut used vehicles and they remove useful parts which they later sell. So this one was bought in Nairobi from a merchant who had imported it from Dubai. So these used engines, they need a lot of care. If you want to buy one, it requires a lot of care because they are not necessarily in a very good condition. You have to check to ensure that you are getting a good deal for your money. So there are things you need to check when you are buying a used engine. For instance, it might look new from the outside, the way this one is looking new from the outside. But you know, these things are sometimes washed with very strong solvents, leaving them almost as brand as new from the outside. So you should be able to check what could be happening on the inside. For instance, when buying a used engine, I would pull the dipstick. That one I'm now giving you some few tips on how to buy a used engine. You pull the dipstick, you see if there is a smoky discoloration on the dipstick, then it means the engine is worn. It is already burning oil. So you avoid that, okay? The other thing you can do is to check the oil filler cap. You check the oil filler cap. If it is milky, if there is some milky residue inside, then it means the head gasket is blown, and it might be losing compression, heating up, or losing coolant, okay? Yeah. The other thing you can check is the exhaust. For example, you can put your hand in the exhaust manifold, wipe the exhaust manifold, your finger should come out clean. Or if at all it comes with a little smoke, it shouldn't be much. This one is coming out very clean. It means the engine is in a very good condition. If the exhaust pipe is oily and has some black oily sludge, that it means the engine is worn out. The piston rings are blown out. So the engine is burning oil, okay? So that will be, you'll have used your money, spending your money on an engine that is already out of service or is almost breaking down completely. Such are the things to check. You can also check if at all there is any broken parts on the engine block, which can be expensive to repair. You can also check for possible leakages on the various joints of the engine. For instance, in the front crankshaft seal, the rear crankshaft seal, and even on the sump gasket. So those are the places to look at.
So currently what are they doing?
At the moment, when we bought this engine, it came complete with all the wiring harness, all the sensors, and even the onboard computer. It is called the ECM or the ECU, Electronic Control Module. This is the computer that's responsible for the engine management. It is what makes the engine to run. So there's a lot of things that we bought with this engine which we are not going to need because they are already in this other, on the vehicle style. Okay? You can have an option of buying it without these accessories. But we prefer to buy it complete this way with these accessories because that way it leaves us with a lot of parts, which normally break down at times. So it is to our advantage. If we were to buy these parts one piece in pieces, it will be very expensive. So by buying the engine as a whole, we save a lot on these parts. We might later need these parts. We can even opt to sell them at our garage spare shop, okay? So that's the advantage of buying the engine when complete. So what they are doing at the moment is removing all those accessories that are already in this vehicle, which we don't need when doing the installation, okay? So we are going to remove the wiring harness. For example, you can see the wiring harness is already here. So we are not going to need the wiring harness. We are going to remove the starter. The starter will not remove. We'll just install the new starter with the new engine. But anything that we are not going to need for this purpose, we are going to remove. For example, the onboard computer, the electronic control unit, this one we are going to remove because we already have one here. And it is still good enough. So we don't need to put this one back. That is what we are doing now. Okay. Another tip when buying a used engine. For instance, this engine we have bought is a Nissan HR15 engine. This engine has been used in different models of Nissan vehicles. You can find it maybe in the Sylphy, you can find it in the Advan, and maybe any other vehicle. So you might buy a used engine, which is not, it is the same engine as the one in your vehicle, but it is not meant for that vehicle. So it is not applicable in that particular vehicle model. For instance, it might not be applicable for the Nissan AD. But it is the same engine. You might find some things are placed differently to suit some other vehicle other than this. So it is good to be keen on that so that you are sure that however the engine is the model that you wanted, you must ensure that it also fits in the particular vehicle you are going to fit it into. Yeah, such that all accessories are well placed where they are supposed to be for your particular vehicle. Yeah.
So what other things do you do at the garage, at the Ottoman Empire garage?
Yeah, at Ottoman Empire, our motto is fixing your car easier, okay? So at Ottoman is a one-stop destination for all your automotive needs. We run a garage where we do all kinds of motor vehicle repairs, ranging from body works, suspension work, engine. So we do it all. Besides that, we also do automotive detailing, whereby we do car wash services, we do paint restoration. For instance, we also do buffing, ceramic coating, waxing, and normal body wash, both interior and exterior. We also do window tinting. Such are the kind of things we do. At Ottoman Empire in Oyugis, we also have a spare shop where we also sell motor vehicle spare parts and accessories, including tires. We also do tires. So you are all welcome to Ottoman Empire garage in Oyugis town. That is in Homa Bay County. Yeah.
So how long does it take to change the engine?
Yeah, changing the engine isn't much work anyway. But still, all the same, engines are complex things. It still requires a lot of care. But I think within a span of 2 to 3 hours, we'll have been done with this. Yeah. The other tip I would that would be good for you to know. When buying a used engine like this, it is always good to include in the bargain a warranty. And maybe a return policy, such that should the engine fail to work as expected, or should it be faulty now that it has been used abroad, then you should be able to return it so that you get your money back, or they give you another engine, okay? So when we buy these engines, we always bargain for a 2 weeks warranty. Like this one, we were given a 2 weeks warranty. So we are going to try it on the vehicle. We are going to drive the vehicle afterwards to test it. If it works well, well and good. But if it doesn't, we can always go back for our money. Or even we can go for another engine. Where I bought this engine, there were so many engines. And some of them were so much worn than the one we removed here. So it is good to always take care when buying an engine so that you get good value for your money. Or else you can buy an engine which is already blown or which is just about in the verge of breaking down. So that means you need to take extra caution to choose well. We are not going to scrap the other one. We will rebuild it at our own time. We'll take our time to rebuild it so that we can use it some other day.
What does knock mean?
Okay.
The engine has knock.
Okay. Are we still on?
Yes.
Okay. So what knock means, when some parts wear in the engine, they create big clearances, big spaces. When there is such big spaces on vehicle moving parts, they produce sound. They produce a lot of noise. That is why we came up with a knock. But that's why we call it engine knocking. Engine knocking could mean more than that. If we go very technical, it could mean more than that. Because there's also a knock caused by detonation. But this kind of knock was caused by engine wear. This engine was worn prematurely because of oil starvation. So that is what made it to break down. So it was producing a knocking sound. Actually, the knock comes from that. The knocking sound it produces once it has broken down, okay? But the issue is that due to excessive friction, the engine broke down. That's why we normally say it has knocked. Yeah. But professionally, knocking could mean a lot more than just that. There is also a knock caused by detonation. That requires another day to explain what detonation is, or pre-ignition. Such things can cause engine knock. So engine knock is that sound caused when there is a defect in the engine. Yeah.
So does this mean that also the spark plugs are going to be removed?
Like in this case, considering the age of this engine, considering the appearance of this engine, we are just going to check the plugs. This vehicle could be having original plugs, which can be much better than what we are buying here aftermarket. It could be having the original plugs. If they are still in a good working condition, which I presume is most likely to be the case, we don't even need to interfere with them. We'll just leave them there until a certain mileage, when we feel that now they might need replacing. This engine must have been removed from the vehicle when it was pretty new. Yeah.
So I see the plugs here is different from the way the plugs are is different from that one has some bar.
Actually, you can't see the plugs. Whatever you are seeing there, those are these are fuel injection nozzles. These are fuel injection nozzles. This is what delivers fuel in the engine to support combustion. So whatever you are seeing here are not plugs. These are ignition coils. Those are ignition coils. The plugs are actually beneath those ignition coils. Yeah.
So what is your take on having an automatic vehicle and a manual vehicle? Which one will you consider?
Personally, I'm an old person in the automotive world. People like us will always go for manual drive, always. It keeps us entertained, it keeps us awake on the road, and it responds well to our needs. Automatics, they are becoming more popular by the day, while manual transmissions are becoming less and less every day. But still, I would prefer a manual vehicle. And there are so many people also would prefer automatic vehicles because they are much easier to drive. Yeah, they are much easier to drive. And then they also support a lot of applications which might be difficult to have in manual vehicles. For instance, adaptive cruise control systems, though they apply in our manual vehicles as well, but they are much easier to work on in electric vehicles. Lane departure control systems or alert. There are so many automated things that come in modern vehicles that make it much easier to apply on automatic vehicles rather than manual vehicles. Yeah. But personally, I prefer manual. If you drive it well and you know how to handle it well, it can even give you better fuel economy and even more reliable torque when you are driving. Yeah.
So what do you think about the CVT transmission? And which transmission is this engine have?
Yeah, this vehicle comes with the normal automatic transmission. The CVTs are becoming very popular, but I don't recommend them. Buying CVT transmissions is just like losing your money because you know the mechanism that enables it to work is just like having two pulleys side by side driven by a belt. They tend to slip and they cannot sustain much heavy work. Here in Africa, we are working on very tough environments. So we need something more reliable, something more tough, something more robust. So I wouldn't recommend the CVTs. Most of them break down prematurely. Somebody with a CVT would even change gearboxes 3 times before somebody with a normal automatic change even once. So I don't recommend CVTs. Personally, when I find a vehicle has a CVT transmission, I don't buy. I wouldn't buy.
So in buying vehicles,
yeah.
Do you, at a personal level, do you prefer buying a new one or you prefer buying an old one and fixing it by yourself?
Yeah, you know, I was having a discussion with one of my clients this morning on the same issue. And another client even got wind of what we were talking about and chipped in. Yeah, it is quite interesting. But I think, in my opinion, I think it is much cheaper to buy a used vehicle, which is in a good condition, than to buy a new vehicle. Because these vehicles depreciate very fast. The moment it has been driven, it loses value so fast. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it also loses its working qualities. For instance, maybe you can buy this used AD directly imported from abroad at maybe 1.1 million shillings, okay? And you find somebody who has used his Nissan AD for just maybe a year or 2, and it is still in a good condition, and is selling it at $500,000 or even 450,000. You know, it is a better bargain for your money to buy the one that has been used locally, because in as much as it has depreciated in price, but mechanically or operationally, it might not have been depreciated that much. So if you can make a good choice, if you have somebody who can do for you proper vehicle appraisal, then I think you make a better deal buying a vehicle that has already been used locally. Yeah. But in situations whereby there is no proper technical backup, then you don't gamble. You just go for a new one if you don't have the technical capacity to get a good used vehicle. Because that way you eliminate a lot of headache for some time before it starts causing you problems. Yeah.
So far, how far have they reached?
So far, they are still removing some accessories, which we are not going to need, which we already have here. So that is what is happening for the meantime. After we'll have removed all of them, is when we'll fix the engine back. So at the moment, they are just removing what we don't need. This engine, when transported, it came with this EGR pipe. This is exhaust gas recirculation pipe. This one is broken, it is bent. So we are going to have to replace this one. You see it is bent. But the one in the vehicle is in a good condition. So we are going to replace the one that was in the vehicle originally.
How it can be fixed?
Yeah? What?
The EG.
The EGR? Yeah, we are going to put another one.
So can you fix that one?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
This one, no, we won't go to the trouble of fixing this one because we already have a good one. You see, when the oxygen sensor on it is broken, there is a sensor whose wire is already broken. So we are just going to replace this with another one. But we can reuse it later. We'll cross that bridge when we arrive there. When we'll need to use it, when we'll not have any other option, then we'll have it fixed. Yeah.
Number 10.
This is the EGR valve. Yeah.
What does it do?
It is an emission control mechanism in a vehicle. You know, when vehicles run, they produce a lot of toxic gases. These toxic gases, the gases that come out of the vehicle are, contains nitrogen dioxide, which is very poisonous, okay? There is also carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, some leftover oxygen, and even carbon particles, which form the smoke. Okay. We also have hydrocarbons. That is fuel that has not been fully burned. So we don't want these toxic substances in the environment. Scientists learned that when combustion temperatures are reduced, then the engine produces less nitrogen dioxide, which is very toxic. So how do they achieve that? They recirculate some of the exhaust gases from the exhaust pipe and gets it back into the intake manifold to burn. That way the combustion temperatures are reduced. This is the intake manifold, okay? These are the intake ports. So when that exhaust gas is recirculated back, it reduces the combustion temperatures, thus limiting the production of nitrogen dioxide, which is toxic. Yeah.
So the oxygen sensor senses the oxygen in the...
Yeah, the oxygen sensor. I can show you the oxygen sensor. Unfortunately, it is not here. The oxygen sensor is here, you see? This is the oxygen sensor. Take good care of this gasket. We don't want to lose them. We are not going to use silicone on this, so we need to keep the gaskets safe. This is the oxygen sensor. What the oxygen sensor does is to check on the amount of oxygen in the exhaust system, in the exhaust gases. If there is a lot of oxygen, then it tells the vehicle computer or the ECU, it tells the ECU that there is little fuel. The fuel mixture is so lean, okay? So the ECU adjusts the fuel ratio delivery on the injection nozzles accordingly, so as to meet the appropriate ratio. The appropriate ratio is 14.7 to 1. We call it the stoichiometric ratio. That is the ratio of air to fuel. So we need to create that required air-fuel ratio. So the oxygen sensor is helping us with that. So it sends that information to the ECU, and the ECU adjusts accordingly. If there is very little oxygen in the exhaust, then it means the vehicle is producing, if there is very little oxygen, it means the combustion is lean, okay? So it tells the computer to adjust so as to meet the required level of air-fuel ratio. Yeah.
So does that mean that automatic cars are more complicated than the manual one?
Absolutely. Because it does a lot of things on itself. It definitely has to be more complex compared to
So
a manual transmission.
The manual drive transmission does not need the oxygen sensor.
No, they have the oxygen sensor. This is just, it helps in engine fuel ratio management and emission management. Yeah, so it comes in all vehicles, be it automatic or manual. Yeah.
So are we also going to use this one?
No, we are not going to need these horses because these horses have been severed from where the engine was bought. When they remove them from vehicles abroad, they don't take care to remove them well. They just cut them off. So these ones are not going to be used, but some of them we can keep. Some of them can be useful at our shop, okay? We can sell them. We can improvise them in places where they can fit. In some other vehicle someday, you never know, when we happen to get a place which will require this. But as at now, we are not going to need this. We already have good ones in the vehicle.
How about
Yeah.
this one?
This is the intake manifold. This is the intake manifold. This one we are definitely going to reuse. We are going to reuse this one. This is the intake manifold, but even the one in the other vehicle is also good enough. It comes here with a throttle body. This is a throttle body. This vehicle does not have an accelerator cable. It is we call it drive-by-wire. Drive-by-wire. There is a sensor at the throttle pedal, and there is a sensor. There is a motor here that opens the throttle valve. So this one is as good as new. Even the one which was originally in the vehicle is also still as good as new. Yeah.
So nowadays most automatic don't have the wire.
Yeah, most automatic vehicles don't come with accelerator cables, but some of them still do. But most of them use drive-by-wire. That
What
is
is your preference on that?
my preference on this. You know, the simpler things are, the better. The cable is much more cheaper to replace when it is broken than you would replace the entire throttle body. But then, just like I said, it is a give and take. You know, there are so many technology in vehicles today that are not easy, are not very sustainable with mechanical things. Electronics make them much easier. For example, if you were to work on things like cruise control, if you were to work on some other forms of engine management, then it is much easier to control using the electronic computerized systems. Yeah.
So what do we have here that hasn't been?
Okay, with us here, this is the VIN plate, the vehicle identification plate. Very important. We have the brake master cylinder. We have the brake master cylinder receiver. We have the vacuum booster, brake booster. We have the AC compressor.
Oh, this is the for AC.
Yeah, this one's for AC. It is what pumps that refrigerant that circulates.
Speaking of AC,
Yeah.
is it true that when you turn on AC, there's a high level of fuel consumption?
Yeah, it is so because, you know, when you turn on the AC, it means this device will be driven, okay? And that requires some power. So more power means more fuel. So definitely fuel consumption has to go up because the engine is put to more labor. Yeah. Then we have what we call the catalytic converter. This is the catalytic converter. If you look at it carefully, it looks like a sieve. It looks like a sieve.
Yes.
Or even a honeycomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the device that is normally stolen from vehicles. Yeah, because it is made of some very expensive metals like rhodium, platinum, and such. They are expensive metals used to make it. It helps in emission to eliminate toxic gases in the exhaust system, like nitrogen dioxide and so forth. So that is the purpose of that. In the jua kali sector, people normally call it a muffler, but it is not a muffler. It is a catalytic converter. Its purpose is to control vehicle emissions. Yeah, we have an ABS module here. We have ABS module.
What does that mean?
ABS simply means anti-lock brake system. Yeah, anti-lock brake system. It makes braking safer by avoiding the wheel skidding. Yeah. Then we have the transaxle here, or the gearbox if you like. And then there is also what we call the torque converter. Remember I said this one is a catalytic converter, but this one is a torque converter. Yeah, it is what transfers the driving force from the engine into the transmission. Yeah, that's a torque converter. We have the drive shafts here. This is the right side, the drive shaft. The left one is on the other side.
Oh, so this is a front-driven car.
Yeah, this is a front-wheel driven car. Yeah. So this kind of gearbox in front-driven vehicles, we call them transaxles. Yeah. It is transversely mounted.
Also on that front and back-driven, what is your preference?
My preference. I think front-wheel driven vehicles are better in the event of two-wheel driven vehicles, because it eliminates the drivetrain to the back, to the rear wheels. Okay. Normally, in a vehicle which is driven with from the rear wheels and has the engine at the front, there is normally a propeller shaft passing through the vehicle floorboard, creating a hump in the passenger compartment. Yeah, so that way it occupies space. And also there is also increased parts. So it is much better if it is front wheel driven. And from my experience, vehicles which are driven from the front, they hardly get stuck easily. Yeah. They do much better on off-road. But normally I prefer 4x4s. I prefer things that are robust, so that I'm not choosy where I go. Yeah. So this particular transaxle comes with a dipstick. Yeah, you can always tell the kind of oil that is meant for it by reading the instructions on the dipstick. Like this one, they say use only Nissan Matic Fluid J. Yeah. So these days, manufacturers recommend different types of oils for different vehicles. So it is good to know what kind of oil you are putting in your gearbox, so that you don't lose your gearbox. It is expensive, so you need to take care when refilling the transmission fluid. Yeah. Most CVTs don't come with a dipstick. Yeah, this is a fuse box. This is the wiring harness. This is the fuel rail with the fuel injection nozzles. There's another fuse box here. This is the AC condenser. This is the AC condenser. It looks like a radiator. It works with the AC. It is what cools the refrigerant that is responsible for cooling the engine when the AC is on.
And where's the radiator for?
It's stored somewhere. We are going to look for it when its time comes. Yeah. The other thing you could identify now is the steering rack. This is the steering rack. It uses an electric power steering. That is the steering rack. And this one here we call the firewall. The firewall.
So at this point, where have we reached?
Yeah, they are still removing those accessories. But we are about to put the engine inside now. That's the thermostat. Yeah, this is the thermostat.
For water cooling?
The thermostat, it prevents water from circulating through the engine when the engine has not attained its normal operating temperature. So it cuts off the water from the radiator from circulating in the engine, so that the engine can attain its optimal operating temperature very fast. Sometimes they do fail. When they fail, vehicles would overheat. Yeah. So that is what it does. Mm. Exhaust in any springs, don't you?
Cosa sambo?
Ma non tocca. Vieni via, io si un bel modo. Ma non mai dai. Ma poco niente. Non mi haga, ma masaka ibutoka. Kama uko sawa hapo. Ile makocha na gitero dok kama. Tusivunje vitu.
Tomba.
Tusivunje vitu. Kitu tungetoa ni hii. Hii ingetoka hii. Unaona hii?
Koro gimana
ingetoka.
Wagole. Gima uso mondo donjo mana gibara chiel kende. Wagole ma.
Mano to dakapara. Gima muone ni kama ichunge ne ma engine onego bed ni donje. To ine michunge.
Tuacho kode open engine donjo.
Gima onego wapar wagol chon. En mano wagol.
Kata chinja wagole komano kwa gol.
Hai hugene kanyo.
Dine emodine.
Wawa mano make mano konyowa malich. Mano konyowa sana. Nikech engine aneno ni masake mogeng'o ne donjo. Kama ochunge no. Koro ritane mondo adwa manyo kaka ting'e maber. Adwa manyo kaka ting'e. Okadwa hinyore. Saka.
Koro tena.
Shidi kelo mari ingine chere koni tala kuri koni. Saka. Haijaingia mzuri. Hebu kichoma nje kidogo.
Ngoe kuchia. Digoje kumalo. Ndio boko.
Pokoknya rwaka gikanyo. Kata bago cheko. Cheke. Adowe ni donjo. Adowe ni donjo. Berga keto bao go direct of there. Tanki kinji ni luar ni. Awe mako.
Meeting mo hotel.
Adwa ni mondo manyi bao mondo kiki go direct.
Uchungo manyi bao. Tude. Nunuk mati to gogi.
Oga direct.
Kuro dia wiye no lor piny te. Wiye no kita dhi piny.
Rundo tang pe. Chieng to bro bedo. Chieng ene ne gilta smart phone. But gimara sisi chimutiyo kore to kuwo kore. Onego bedu nyisi.
Chore gi mbele. Chien. Oni gibeti ni gote koni. Kumini ndo kone rach. Gebuk sindo gyo koni.
Gitang kikoluor.
Mana kore jit bugi kono. Chien. Ini gibele koni. Ini koni.
Bau chapo koso bau chabedo malo koso piny.
Bau ket malo. Bau ket malo.
Agengo mondo kik engine no kethre.
Yes. Engine no.
Chunga inaweza kuanguka pia.
Ukonyal gore. Wani kanyo.
Ma kachiro to onego gonyo oko. Mano onego gonyo oko. Kane spani gonyo.
Oko gi teko, odhiringo malo ka. Mano kelo malo. Ringi mang gimne dika wewe. Kanya gi bolto. Inugo kanyo sien koro.
Kade manual di koro pod wa struggle. Koro ma ngene dege ma. Midwa keto na dege ma. Kade manual di koro wa struggle wa.
Tane godor machieko. Yama.
Yunge. Kaya to donjo gi starter. Kiko ket matoke kone. Bolts nimeweka hapa juu.
Mago kende onge gik ma tuwe gi kone.
Kone ti mounting. Mounting mabro make. Engine mounts. Turudishe tena.
Chakao 17 tas kuma penye.
Kuro mapino kende to koro make nyalo miyo tur. Nego medne moko. Medne moko mamalo go. Mano bedo nyo kan mana dier. Mani to gi starter ko donjo kende. Mano kubora ahinya. Kuro kazi go fibu kuisha jemo. Ukiona hivi. Kishaingia. Kazi kuisha.
Jentemnia. Mera negi ngoroka.
Mokwongo kasma, in bendi kasmi makono. Ariyo go to ngeni koro romake. Eno ka rachet ngeni pung'eyo.
Igonyo.
Kaka spana 17 makawaida tu. Chieng bro ng'e tijni. Chieng bro bedo fundi. Kendo nyalo bedo fundi maber. Chieng nyalo bedo fundi maber sana. But ber kimedo gi somo buge bende. To gi YouTube bila makoro dongo go picha kae. Dongo kata ne gi yawo na channel. Kaite miya kamera moro mo.
Kamera bro.
Ochengi bani 17 mokwongo.
To computer radi. Oto mano nego beni computerized. Na sekoni euro ni pesa tama yudo pa.
Bro, check on laptop.
Pesa si chaya this 2 years. kata mana desktop.
Sino ni gima dwaro koro. In koro manya ni gimoro ket ka.
Inang'e ni mago ok nyal koso ma extra.
Koro mondo ji no we make. Koro beda kosa kendieno.
Amado doctor.
Ido ini mingine nafasi modo kakra wamo. Pingani.
Koro ready moro ni wadwa manyo ne body. Kwa yudo body to waloso gari.
Koro body man gi